Welcome to the Paint, Rest, Repeat podcast with Ros Gervais and
Laura Day, where we chat about our creative lives as artists while keeping it real and a little bit messy.
We're here to inspire creatives just like you to push past those boundaries and make art that you love. Let's dive in. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Paint, Rest, Repeat. This episode is all about branding for artists, and we are super excited today because we have Jen Bowers here from Gen B Brands. We're going to dive in today. How are you, Jen?
I am amazing. Thank you so much for having me, ladies. Super excited to be here. You know that I can talk about branding all day. And I'm super excited to talk, especially for artists, because the way I love to brand is perfect for artists.
Yeah.
So let's.
Yay. Thanks for being here. And did I just catch you say flamazing?
Amazing, yes.
All right. There's a story there. Let's dive into that.
Okay, so the story behind Flamazing is my brand's tagline is I help you build a brand that is a flamingo in a flock of seagulls. Now, the story behind that is there is a saying flamingo in a flock of pigeons, but I don't do normal. So I'm an 80s girl, and there was a band back in the 80s called A Flock of Seagulls. So I just twisted it to make it my own. So then when I realized how much fun it was to play with the flamingos, all of my offers are now based around, flamingo language. So my course is called the Flamazing Brand Kickstarter course. And rather than say I'm amazing, I will always say I'm flamazing.
I'm also thinking, Jen, of Alf from Neighbours. Didn't he always say the flamingo or something like that?
That was from what was it called? No, it's Home and Away.
Home and Away.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, the flaming glass.
Yeah.
Also from the 80s, Jen, over here. So, I like that.
Yeah, I'm very out and proud, 50 plus woman and, grew up in the 80s. So, yeah.
Now I'm thinking, what would your tagline be, Ros?
Oh, I don't know. I have a couple of random ones. Go rogue is one of my favorite ones because I'm all about, breaking the rules, doing things your own way. What about you, Laura?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Yeah. I'm going to have to circle back to that. My brain, it was very slow this morning. You did.
Jen can give us taglines by the end of
today's...
Yeah, I
know. Exactly. We've got the expert here.
Yeah. Thing to have a tagline that, because we chatted a little bit before about that recognition marketing. So that literally now the flamingos has become a very big thing for my brand. Mm-hmm. And people will say to me, and I was at the Finders Keepers market, which is a massive market. And I went to buy some Rocky Road from Pebbly Path, amazing Rocky Road girls. And she's like, oh, you're the flamingo branding lady. I'm like, I am. So this is the thing. It's that recognition because it's all about the flamingos and
it has, meaning and symbolism as well, Jen, in that, yes. I think that's why it particularly resonates. If you just chose, I don't know, like I said, a galah, it wouldn't necessarily say anything, but there's meaning behind it, so it sticks.
Yes. Because I like to create standout brands.
Yeah. Okay. So talking about the recognition branding, because this is a new term to me and I actually had no idea about it, but I'm actually looking at a website refresh and looking at my branding colors and maybe looking at a logo redo and all that sort of stuff. So this conversation is amazing and like totally relevant to like where I'm at. And I'm sure that our listeners too would be like totally on board to like finding out some information from you about branding. But yeah, so with personal branding, obviously, like we can see in the background if you're watching YouTube, you've got the flamingos behind you. You've got like multicolors everywhere. You've got your gorgeous dress that you wear in your Instagram posts like quite a lot. You've got your
Yep.
pink pom-poms, you've got your pink glasses, pink hair. So it's just all about like becoming like instantly recognizable. Is that right? Did you want to like explain a
Yeah,
bit more?
it is, but it is a process to get there. So it doesn't just sort of happen because the thing is, with a lot of us, we get bogged down in our shoulds. Now, I should be this as an artist. I should be this as a brand strategist. I should be that. And the thing is, I hate that word. It's actually not in my vocabulary. It's I can, not I should. But when I found, and this is part of my process of branding, when I found out my brand personality, it actually changed everything for me. It allowed me to step into my power. I am a magician creator. Creators the bright colors. My background is as a graphic designer. Roz knows I paint. Not professionally, but I love it. I love dabbling in the paint. And I've just joined a membership to draw life like realistic animals because I'm the crazy cat lady. So as that creator, it gave me the permission to really step out of the blush pink, rose gold, and charcoal that I thought I should be and actually embrace who I am and who I was meant to be. And that's the thing, so many of us forget who we were meant to be because, societal expectations, especially if you're a little bit older, they weigh us down. Like we've all been told, oh, Jen, you should wear black because it's so flattering because I'm plus size. So you do that because you're trying to be, you think you should be. But finding out that brand personality really allows you to step into your power and go, you know what? This is who I am. And this is who I'm going to be. So for me, that is the first part of the recognition marketing is actually finding out who you are and then finding out your brand voice and tone. So you've got this consistency because for me, you will always hear me speaking fairly casually. But if I started speaking in a tone like this, that I was being very formal, you'd be going like, what the heck? Who's that? And that's confusion. So, it's those things plus your visuals because let's face it, you only get one chance to make a first impression. Now my colors are really bright and I've had people say to me, I recognize your posts in my feed because it's bright, the typography is always very fun, and that's the thing. And you build on this and you've got to be consistent with it. That's my favorite C word. All my ladies know in the course of what am I going to say? Consistent. And that's the thing, the consistency, because that builds the recognition.
Yeah.
You don't have to have pink hair like me to be recognizable.
And as you're talking about that, I agree with the consistency piece, but also you're talking about creating a brand and wearing colors and choosing colors for your brand that are authentic to you, that are truly you. And that is how you can be consistent because that's who you are. And so that's easy. That's easy to do things consistently when it's authentic.
Yeah. When you're who you're meant to be,
yeah,
instead of being who you think you should be and just trying to be somebody else, trying to fit in the box that, we think we need to be, it just comes easily. It all comes easily. And when you are passionate about what you do, again, it makes all the difference. Like I'm very passionate about helping small businesses build these recognizable, memorable brands because I know it makes a difference because so many out there will think, oh, I've got a logo, so I've got a brand. It's so much more than that. And for artists, you want to create relationships and connections with your people. And that's part of what I teach because, so many people are just like, oh, it's transactional. It's not. If you're buying a piece of art, now, I've got a lot of art up here. I've got one of your pieces, Roz. I've got two of Deb's from Art from the Heart. I've got Sandra's from Art from the Heart. Like I love art. I've got Dr. Seuss prints. I've got, not prints, like paintings outside. Like I love it. But you create the connection like with the artist. Now, I don't want that to be a transaction. I've chosen to have your art in my home. Now, we were just saying nearly 5 years ago, I bought that piece off you. And we're here today because, you became part of my home And that's what
Oh, I'm there every day, Jen. You should
Well,
actually come over for a day.
that's what people remember. Like they
Yeah.
want to look at that piece of art
Yeah.
and remember the artist and the person that painted it. They want to get to know you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
It's not,
personality behind.
yeah, it's not
Yeah.
a pair of sneakers.
Mhm.
That's very hard though for a lot of artists, is sort of, I guess, revealing and sharing about themselves. Personal information is one thing, I think, but then also the visibility and even saying, hey, I'm an artist, would you like to buy my art? That's quite hard for a lot of artists, especially in the early days. But we're talking today about branding, right? And we're talking about personal branding, really, because that's what you do and that's what artists need to fit into that way of branding. Do you have any sort of pointers for those artists who are quite shy to increase their visibility?
Yeah, it's hard because everyone thinks I'm the biggest extrovert in the world. I'm actually not particularly. I just come across like that. Also, I had a lot of body shaming. I was married to a narcissist who used to say things like, "Oh, you used to be so pretty before you got so fat and ugly." My mum, Jennifer, keep quiet. Be a lady. So, I didn't want to show myself either, and I didn't. I was saying earlier, I only rebranded to Gen B Brands in 2022. And I realized earlier in that year that I was too scared to come out from behind Pink Pom Pom because I didn't want to be seen. But people, they want to get to know you. So again, the brand personality, the brand foundations, do some, see a hypnotherapist. That's what I did. I've seen hypnotherapists, I've had grief and trauma counseling, I've done EFT, all of these things that have allowed me to actually have the confidence in myself because a lot of them may be shy, but also if they don't love themselves, they're not going to want to step out into the spotlight. And it's really important, especially for personal brands. We have to have the confidence in ourselves. I still struggle. I'm still plus size. I was out there, doing like one day, I was talking about bringing back your pink, which is my podcast and my mastermind. Because just quietly, did you know that flamingos, when they're actively parenting and they're not eating properly and they're stressed and they're burnt out, they fade and they lose their pink. When they start looking after themselves again, they get their pink back. Just thought I'd share that little
Is that
tip.
why my t-shirt's purple? So what's happened? It's school
You need to get
holidays
your
here.
your pink back.
I need my pink back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To actually get that confidence. But yes, so what I was saying is he made a comment, man, of course, made a comment on my post saying, well, maybe instead of getting your pink back, you should try and reduce your BMI or something. And I just, you know what, 12 months before that, I would have crashed into a ball and I would have gone away and I would have hidden. But I'm like, can I swear on this podcast?
We've got an editor. It's all right.
Stuff you. There's nothing wrong with me. Who are you to sit behind a screen and make nasty comments to somebody?
Mhm.
So that's the thing, like to get that unshakable confidence in yourself. And it may require work. I mean, I still work on myself all the time. And I still have the doubts and I still have the self-sabotage and I still have the limiting beliefs. And the mean girl comes in and says, who do you think you are to do that? You've just got to work on that. And that's why in my course, before we do anything else, we work on mindset and empowerment. Because otherwise you're going to be the world's best kept secret and nobody wants that.
Yeah, and our artists, our listeners, they're wanting to build their businesses and to sell more art and have more impact through their artworks going into other people's spaces. So, we need that visibility, we need that confidence, just enough confidence, just enough to be sharing, our work with other people and getting our name out there.
Yeah, every piece of art is a piece of them.
Mm.
So when they're offering their art, they're offering a piece of themselves. And it's like when I do my brand strategies, it's like I'm offering my work to someone. And if they don't like it, it's heartbreaking. And it's exactly the same with art because it is literally offering a piece of you. But if you don't put yourself out there, nobody's going to find you.
Yeah.
And
so it's that courage and confidence piece, definitely.
And people really want to know who you are.
Yeah.
want to meet you. Even if it's just a photo on Instagram saying, this is me, this is who I do. It's a start.
And lots of artists are shy and sensitive, and they do tend to like hold themselves back and hide away in the shadows. But a lot of the common problems with lots of artists in our community, and the podcast community and Roz's community, is that they want more art sales. And they want to be visible on Instagram, and they want to be seen and recognized for their creative talents. And you can't do that hiding away in the shadows. You
Um,
have to put yourself forward. And this is what you do.
yeah, you
You
do, but
know?
this has taken me. So I was made redundant in 2020 at the age of 52. And I was like, my life is over. I'm done. I wasn't good enough to, stay, blah, blah, blah. But, I had to flip that and I had to move forward. But this has taken me now, we're in 2025, to really be, here I am. This is what I do. I'm going to work with, creative businesses, midlife women. It's taken me 4 years to get to that and build up my confidence. Yes, I've been recognizable for a while. But for me to have that true confidence, it's a process. It just doesn't happen overnight. Same with building a brand. It doesn't happen overnight. Like I'm going to hark back to Roz. I think that painting was one of the first. This is like nearly 5 years down the track now. And look where you are now. But it didn't happen overnight, did it?
No, and I wouldn't have been able to predict this either, by the way. Like, I think part of that journey, and as you're talking about your own journey too, is accepting that we are always a work in progress.
Yeah.
We are always
Revolving.
evolving and changing. And that includes your brand, includes your art,
Absolutely.
includes you as a person as well. So we are a moving target. I think, yeah, accepting that is really
I
important.
just rewrote my brand strategy and totally changed my ideal client because as you grow and you learn and you realize where you want to make the most impact. And that's the thing. Like then you go back and you revisit because it's forever evolving. It never stops, it's not the destination, it's the journey.
Yeah.
100%. Hey, I'm thinking because I work for these sorts of sessions. I work off a mind map. This is my brain, and every time I have like a little idea pop up, I scribble it in front of me so that I don't forget it and it doesn't fall
Great
out.
idea. I've got a new diary coming. It's just arrived, I think, and it's got lots and lots of note paper like in it. So mind mapping, yes.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, it depends. You've got to work out what works for your brain.
Hmm.
But on here, I have scribbled recipe for branding. So what are the key steps, that you would take people through? So I've got like number one would be the brand personality quiz from what I've gathered today. That's right.
Brand personality. That's up to me. That's like the number one brick in those foundations.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives you the permission to step. And for me, it actually dictates the rest of what you do. So I'll run through my flamazing process because that's the easiest way. So it's brand personality, brand voice and tone. Those two things are incredibly important, but also your story. Now people go, oh, but I don't have a story. Trust me, everybody has a story. I never thought my story would actually take me to stages overseas, but it has. Because to me, it's just living, but it inspires others to actually, step out of their black and white worlds into the color. I never would have thought. So trust me, everybody has a story, but also your why. Why are you doing this? This is another very important thing because if it's all to make money, now the time is to dig in and go, why am I doing this? For me, my why is harks back quite a few years to when my ex-husband left me for the younger, better model. And I had my mother and my daughter that I had to look after. And I'm like, what am I going to do? And I thought, okay, go back to branding and design. That's what you do well. And then I thought, I think I'll buy him out of our home. And I told him that. And he laughed at me and said, you'll never be able to do that. Like, you just watch me. And 12 months later, I had built up a business that allowed me to buy him out with the biggest mortgage that my mortgage broker had ever got for a single woman. Now, every woman has the capability to do that. Every woman can do it. And that's where my why started, because I want to help every woman build a business that is a flamingo and a flock of seagulls, but allows them independence. Because, of course, I'm 56 And the highest instances of homelessness in women is 55 plus because, lives change. They bring up the kids, they break up, and then they're like, what can I do? But everyone can do what I did. So that's my why. And then my why has, of course, evolved in time, but that's what started me. And then your key messaging, your mission, your vision, your desire. Then who are you speaking to? Who is your bestie? And I like to call them besties because literally they should become your best friend, the people you want to work with. And remember, you get to choose, like you get to choose the style of your art, which will attract a certain type of person. For me, I get to choose who I want to work with. Do I work with corporates? No. I have done. Do I want to again? No, I don't. Like I'm really niching into women over 45 in creative businesses. Um, you know, yeah, that's who I want to work with to help. And niching down into that, and you will always have you'll hear two terms: target market, target audience. You can have a target market, but you can also have target audiences underneath. So I'm going to use Deb Baker as an example. She has two target audiences. She has, and this is one of what I suggested to her, is one of them is going to be younger people putting their imprint on their own rooms with her beautiful colored artwork and her fun artwork. So she has the people like myself who have her art, but then there's a big audience of younger people that would want to actually create their own haven in their rooms, because remember, our kids are staying with us a lot longer than they used to. So they want to make their own impact. And then once you've built all that, the visuals come from all of this, because you don't want to have things that don't match together. It's kind of like a jigsaw puzzle, putting it all together. And what I like to say is, I love an analogy, as you probably just realized, but when you're building a house, if you don't build on strong foundations, what's going to happen? Yes, it's so much fun doing your kitchen and doing your bathroom and choosing your paint colors and buying art and doing all of that. But if you don't build it on strong foundations, what's going to happen? It's going to wobble. It's going to break. You're going to ruin your art. I mean, heaven forbid. And that's the thing. That's why you've got to build the foundations first. And what I find is people like, oh, how do you get an ROI on this? Yes, it's very intangible. However, if you build that strong, consistent brand, people will be drawn to you. And if your messaging is all over the place, if you don't know your target market, if your brand's not consistent, people are going to be repelled by you. Because again, and especially for your people, I imagine Instagram is a place they play quite a bit because it's visual. I'd like you to think of Instagram as a shop. So you've got two shops next to each other. Go into one, it's just a mess. You're going, oh my God, like I don't know where my size is. I don't know. I can't find the colors. It's overwhelming, and you leave. Go next door. It's all set out by size, ink by color. It's easy to find what you want. Might be a bit more expensive, but you're going to spend your money there because it's visually pleasing. So, people say, oh, Instagram doesn't need to be visually pleasing. You're an artist. Yes, it does. It does. So, but if it's inconsistent, people aren't going to hang around.
Yeah, I really love that.
I just talked for like, I don't know how long.
Well, we didn't interrupt because we're like, this is great. Yep. This is going to be helping our audience so much. So thank you,
Super
Jen.
helpful. Yeah.
Well, I'm a bit passionate about it.
No, absolutely fantastic, and great analogy in there as well, because I think our audience feels a bit of pressure sometimes to get social media just right. But I think I do agree with you. It does need to be beautiful, but there are ways to do that as well that are,
it's being perfectly imperfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the authenticity. But what I find, and I'll give you one of my biggest hints, is break up all the color with a quote. And it just gives them a starting point. Like if you go and look at my Instagram, you will see white tiles within it. It gives people a starting point. I do, and I mean, I'm pretty, strict in my grid. I do white, then a photo of me or a reel, a quote, photo of me, like I'm quite consistent with that. Every now and then I forget, like I did over Christmas. I'm like, oops, I forgot the white one. That's okay. I'll just keep going. But, it gives people somewhere to look and focus, because if you come in and you're completely overwhelmed, you're not even going to stay. But if you see a quote that you like, that resonates, that talks to you, you'll stay.
Mhm.
Then you'll start looking, then you'll start scrolling down, and then you'll see them individually. And it does make a big difference.
Yeah. And it's the magnetism too. Like if you're have done all this work, you've done your branding, you will become more confident in yourself. And then the energy that you bring to your business, the energy that you bring to Instagram, the energy is like it is like, it draws you in. And
Yeah.
so that's what like becomes like really amazing when you're trying to build a brand and grow and, draw more people into your world.
I mean, I'm a walking, talking example of that,
Mhm.
of, how building your foundations can literally change everything for you
Mm.
and help you build that brand that is recognizable. I mean, as I said, it helps that I have pink hair. But still, it's my energy, my sense of fun, my flamingos that I'm not scared to dance with a flamingo. Well, not a real
Oh,
one.
I want to see this now, Jen.
And I mean, then it's giving me permission to have all these flamingos. I feel like I'm a kid again, Like people send me stuffed flamingos.
Yeah.
I've literally just redecorated the living area, and it's got flamingos all over it, and beautiful, beautiful pieces of artwork
Yeah.
with flamingos. And I got one for another piece from Jared Riley as well. And then
Yeah.
I found some stunning pieces on Urban Road and they all mix together, and they're all very eclectic. But the theme is Anyway, I'll stop talking about
Mm.
flamingo.
No, we love it. We're like
No,
visualizing this space
yeah.
now. It's
Need
great.
permission to do this.
Hmm.
Business and my brand.
Yeah, and it's tax deductible as well, which is really
Absolutely.
good.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But like the benefit is like when people are out in the world, like you are so well known for these flamingos that like they're just going to be thinking of you and your brand, and then they might be at a certain point in their life and business and they're like, "Oh, actually I really do need to work on my branding right now. Oh, I just saw a flamingo in the shop. Oh, okay, I'm going to remember Jen. I'm going to go to her website." And
Yep.
it's just like, that's how people are drawn into your world.
I get my followers, they'll be overseas somewhere and they send me photos of flamingos. Bless them. I love it. Like I love it. I actually feel so privileged that they think of me and send me a photo of something. They're on their holidays and they'll send me the photos. And I'm like, it just makes my heart sing.
Mhm.
Because, to think that they're like in the UK or Amsterdam or the US or wherever they are, and they send me a photo of something they've seen.
Mhm.
Just blows my mind. And I love it.
Well, your
Yeah.
branding's working, Jen. Well
Yeah.
done.
So yeah, I'm like, I mean, let's have a quick little brainstorm before we like wrap up because we will be wrapping up quite soon. But like, there's things in your everyday life that like could be something that could be recognizable for you. Like I've been thinking like I've got my journal here, um, and I love drinking matcha lattes. I'm moving to Thailand, so like maybe the beach. Like there's all sorts of things,
Taking
and
your
that's
papa? But you're taking your
and
papa?
and my dog, my beautiful, gorgeous dog. And so
They can be
yeah,
part of the story. Like my 15-and-a-half-year-old cat is my supervisor.
exactly. Yeah.
I share stories of him because I take him for a walk most days, not when it's too hot. But I take him for a walk most days. Now, I've just been having conversations with somebody I do not know because I took a photo from the letterbox, and she's like, "Oh my God, he's amazing, isn't he gorgeous?" And then, I've started talking about him, saying he's chronically ill and he goes for a walk and he's 15 and a half, and like this whole conversations in the DMs. So, show those bits of personal
Mhm.
life. I drink champagne.
Mhm.
I love champagne. That's the thing too. So, yeah, like the matcha, your
Mhm.
papa moving to Thailand. Roz, your hair,
Yes.
your hair is, definitely a thing, because people would
You know,
recognize
earrings.
of your hair. Yeah, earrings, like see for me, wearing big earrings is always a thing. And flamingos.
Very important. I also have cats, Jen. We like
Yeah,
to cat.
cats.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
anyone needs cat training tips, Jen.
I have 10. I am the crazy cat lady. I also think of you and flowers a lot.
Mm.
Yes, of
It's
course.
a lot of your artwork is flowers. I mean, my piece is well, it's got
This is a while ago, talking
yeah,
about people who evolve. Art evolves too.
yeah, I know, but I still love that so much. But
Yeah.
it's got like petals, and so I think
Hmm.
of flowers and
Yeah.
beautiful. like your art is colorful and vibrant and fun. So that's how I think of you.
Mm.
So
Oh, she's good. Should we just continue? Should we just have a branding consultation right now?
I know, like we really could like dive in.
oh, it's so
Um,
much fun. Like I just love this doing
yeah.
it.
It is
Like
a
So,
lot of fun, isn't it?
yeah,
all
it really is.
It's largely visual as well, I think. Not entirely, Jen. I know there's a lot more
Yeah.
to it, but I think for artists, we are, the idea of branding is fun because it does
Mhm.
include visual elements.
You
Yeah.
only get that one chance to make a good first impression. So, your visuals are so important.
Yeah.
But when you get your visuals right once you've done the foundations. And doing foundations like that may even change the direction of the art that you do in some way. It's forever evolving.
Yeah.
You know, as I said, Ros knows I've dabbled in painting. I'm going to be drawing. I love the idea of that the textured stuff that I'm seeing everyone. I'm like, oh, I like the look of that. But yeah, it just evolves, and it's whatever, I think it's whatever you love as well, because it's so important to love what you do. We
Mhm.
spend a lot of time doing this. We want to love it.
So starting from ground zero, and people getting into your world, we've got a link to the brand personality test. So it's Discover Your Brand Sparkling Personality. I'll pop that in the show notes.
Yes.
So that's a resource for our listeners. I think, everyone will be quite inspired by this talk today, and they'll want to have a look into their personality. And then your offers and all the other things that you've got going on in your world, Jen.
So I have a course. It's called the Flamazing Brand Kickstarter course, and we work together to go through all the things that we talked about. So it's got 8 modules. I love this course. I love my ladies. They're amazing. As a matter of fact, one of them just said yesterday, she said, I just don't want this to ever end. Gosh, my heart. And then I have one-on-one packages, 6 weeks, or 6 calls. So it can be over 12 weeks, can be 6 weeks, whatever. Just working through this because I love to do it with you, because I do feel that you create the strongest brand when we work together. And I have my mastermind that is in action at the moment, called Bring Back Your Pink, which is for beautiful midlife ladies that have been feeling faded and, get to midlife and think, I'm past it. I'm here to tell them they're not. So for professional and women in business, mainly creative businesses, probably, I feel like that's where it's going to, where it's going to be. Yeah. So that will happen again next year. But yeah, that's how you can work with me. I've
So many
decided.
exciting options, Jen. How do I choose? Can I do all of them?
It's funny because like I used to have so many options, and I'll never forget, and this is why coaches are so good. I was in Palm Springs with my coach Tina Tara, and she said, Jen, I can't recommend you to anyone because I don't know what you do. I said, Tina, I'm in branding, you know that. She says, but Jen, you have so many offers. I'm like, oh, so that's why I only have 3.
Yeah, beautiful. Nice,
Because
tidy, sweet.
Yeah.
Yep, it is. It starts from, the lower ticket, which is the course, up to the, the mid, which is the one-on-one, and then to the mastermind, which is more high ticket. But I love all of them, and I get such joy helping these ladies shine.
Gorgeous. And you're on.
Sorry, just a quick question. Is the course live, or is it self-guided?
I run it live.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah, I run it live because I love to be there to see my ladies have their epiphanies, and see them change and see what they do. And yeah, it's really important to me. I'll probably run it again in August. I like to run it twice a year. So probably look out for me. Look out for it in August at some stage. Yeah.
Send a message to Jen on Instagram. Let her know.
I like to play on Instagram the most. It's the most fun.
And what is your handle then over on Insta, Jen?
Jen BBE Brands.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Jen, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. This has been fun.
Yeah. We've had a good time too.
You're
a genius.
Oh, bless. Thank you very much. So are you. So are you both.
All right. See you all soon.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, guys. Bye.